All right, everyone, the time is 2 p.m. Let's go ahead and get started. This is the State Expedited Accusations calendar in the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia. I am Judge Melanie Williams, and today is August the 30th of 2023. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of your case today can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. This particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch. Ms. Bridgewater, what is my reset date?
Yes, ma'am. It's September the 12th.
All right, those who receive a surety or a cash bond today will be reset to state all purpose on September the 12th. Those who receive a signature bond, whether through pretrial or the jail, will be reset per the notice. Have all defense attorneys had the opportunity to interview their clients? All right, let's
Sorry,
proceed.
Your Honor, I apologize. I have not been able to speak with Benny Cristiano. He needs an Indonesian interpreter.
Okay, Miss Grace or Miss Bridgewater, are we going to have an Indonesian interpreter today?
Was one requested earlier?
Yes, it's the first time I'm requesting one, so I just emailed everybody that Jay Kim usually requests it from.
Okay, Judge, I'll double check, and if not, we'll try to get someone on, but if not.
I understand. Thank you,
Okay.
Miss Grace.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
We knew 10 people was just too simple today, didn't we? All right. I understand Mr. Tevis is here, private counsel. Are there other private attorneys on the line? I see Ms. McLeod. Okay. Is it possible to take Mr. Tevis's position first?
Your Honor, he's already sitting in the chair.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Position number 8.
All right. I'm sorry, Ms. Falk, were you speaking?
Yes, Your Honor, and I apologize for the interruption. Andrew Denson was is going to be an add-on. We are prepared to go forward, and Mr. Pilon will be handling that. I promise it will not take long. I'm working on the case as we speak, so we'll have a CR number shortly.
All right.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. It's just, you look at one thing and you get another. All right, Mr. Paul, your case is 23 CR 0052668A. In this case, you are charged with simple battery. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard, can I please have his history?
Second arrest, 2014, aggressive driving. He was recommended.
All right, thank you. Ms. Nemini, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday at 4067 Land Old Lakes Drive Northeast. Officers were advised that defendant shoved Mr. Joshua Porter in an attempt to get him off his property. The state was able to speak to Mr. Porter, who claims that he won't be on Zoom due to work, but he works for Google Fiber. And on the day of the incident, he was in front of the defendant's house doing utility repairs on the sidewalk. And Mr. Porter states that they had a law ordinance which permits them to do so. The co-worker spoke to the defendant 10 minutes before they started and explained what they were going to do, and defendant understood and stated no worries. But then once they began digging a way to install the Google Fiber, that's when the defendant rushed out and started to yell and curse at them. Mr. Porter asked him if he wanted to see the ordinance, but he kept on yelling. Then he grabbed Mr. Porter with both hands and tried to push him onto the road. They both fell to the ground. Mr. Porter fell on his back, pushed the defendant off him, and he called the police. Mr. Porter does have a knot on the back of his neck, which is hurting him. So he's going to get it checked out. And he stated that his company, they have to finish the job, but they're going to send somebody else to do it since this interaction occurred. Mr. Porter doesn't want any contact with Mr. Defendant, and he's asking for anger management classes, just because he watched as the incident occurred. The defendant was aggressive with the wife, who was trying to stop him from causing any further damage. So based on the facts, the state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Mr. Joshua Porter, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, Your Honor, and 1 day of anger awareness. And I would like to sound for Mr. Porter if he is online today, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Porter, are you present? All right, Mr. Tevis, I'm inclined to give your client a signature bond through pretrial and require the 1 day anger awareness course. Do you have any objections to that or anything you'd like to add to the record?
No objection to the insecure judicial release, Judge. I do object to the anger awareness course simply because the state has allegations at this time. He's presumed innocent of all of these charges. We have video evidence in our possession of the people showing up, not in any uniform, nothing about Google Fiber. They went in his backyard without permission and began digging. Even when they showed up later, there was another vehicle still not marked as any kind of anything to do with Google or fiber whatsoever. These people were on his property. We intend to file a speedy trial demand and resolve this at trial, because I don't think that the allegations that the state made are going to be backed up by the evidence. Additionally, I've seen we were in this case late last night when it happened, and I've read what the officer was putting in his report. And in that, even the officer said, I wasn't going to make an arrest. I told them to settle it civilly. However, this other person was so adamant about it, he went up, took out a warrant anyway. So if the state wasn't expediting these accusations, I would be making a PC argument and a whole presentation on that today. But in light of the fact that these are allegations, at this point, there's no evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't think it's appropriate to add conditions, but we would ask for a UJR. My client's wife is also on Zoom. He is 49 years old. He's lived here for 14 years. They have a child together. He's at the same job for 10 years. As pretrial said, he has no prior convictions. So we think UJR is appropriate and sufficient in this case. It's bad enough that he had to spend the evening in jail. So I think that's sufficient.
All right, your objection to the anger management is duly noted. However, I'm going to require the 1 day course. Defendant's going to receive a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. He is to take the 1 day anger awareness course, have no contact whatsoever with the alleged victim in this case, Mr. Porter. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition of this signature bond through pretrial. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Tevis, does that conclude your business before the court today?
It does. Thank you.
Take care. Have a good
All right,
afternoon.
appreciate you taking us first.
All right. Have a good one. Take care. All right. Who do we have next?
Next, Your Honor, we're going to go to position number 3, Mr. Joshua Copeland.
All right. Good afternoon.
And Your Honor, his mother, the victim, is actually in the courtroom.
Okay. We'll bring her when we sound for the victim. All right. Your case number, Mr. Copeland, is 23 CR 005270B. You were charged with battery family violence with the offense date of August 29th. Do you understand your right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can I have the history, please, Mr. Howard?
His first arrest, he's
Okay.
17 years old, and he was recommended.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Palan, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. In this matter, officers were dispatched to a domestic dispute. They met with the victim, who's the defendant's mother, who advised the defendant threw a shard of broken glass at her, cutting her right arm. The victim and the defendant lived together. Your Honor, the state's main concern here is the cooling off period. This occurred at close to 3 a.m. Yesterday morning. So we're recommending a $4,000 surety on bond through pretrial services. The defendant would clearly need a cosigner. We're also asking for 1 day anger awareness. Your Honor, the state would also, depending on what defense presents, we'd ask for either a no further contact or no further violent contact and a stay away.
Okay. Understood. All right, Mr. Trejo.
Good
Please.
afternoon, Your Honor. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Been some time. Please proceed.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It has. Thank you. Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond on this case. My client has no record to speak of. He's 17 years old. And it is our position that this case, and I'm sure once Ms. Jennings is able to speak, if the court will recognize her later, we believe she will corroborate that this was a misunderstanding. My client is not a violent person. We don't believe he's a risk of reoffending or of getting into more trouble with his family, Your Honor. We would vehemently object to any conditions being added on the basis of a cooling off period. That is not statutory in Georgia. It's certainly statutory in other places, but that is not something that's ever been required in Georgia. The fact that his mother is there and being involved in the case, I think, also speaks to the reality of what's going on here. Your Honor, we don't believe that. We think that if there is going to be a no contact provision, that it should be a no further violent contact provision. My client indicated that he has that he won't have any issues leaving the house or not staying at the house for some time, but that this is his mother, right? And they should be able to have contact. And we don't believe that because this was a one-off situation. We don't believe that that a no holds barred, just no contact provision is appropriate in this case.
Is he in high school?
I believe he graduated already, Your Honor. I believe he graduated already.
Okay. Now, if I do grant, I'm going to hear from his mother, but if I do grant that signature bond, his mother cannot co-sign because she's the alleged victim.
Okay.
Is there someone else who can co-sign the defendant's bond, Mr. Trejo?
I don't know offhand, Your Honor. I do know that his stepfather is involved in his life. I know that he also has some other family members here in Georgia. His grandmother, he has some aunts as well. So if it is a situation where he would need to just find another co-signer, I'm sure he can find another family member. And looking at my notes, Your Honor, I have an answer for you. So he does have a GED.
Okay. If his mom could be brought forward, if she'd like to make a statement, but she doesn't have to. And let her know if she's listening and she's not required to make any statements.
Your Honor, in light of defense's argument, we would request that no further violent contact and stay away order. I would quibble that saying it's not statutory and that it's never been required are two pretty different statements, but that would be the state's request.
All right. Ma'am, what is your name?
My name is Josie Jennings. Well, Josie Edwards Jennings. I got married to my husband.
Okay, Ms. Jean, do you wish to make a statement today in your son's case? If you do, I'll need you to raise your right hand so I can place you under oath.
Yes.
All right, please raise your right hand. Oh, I see it. Thank you. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. What I'm most concerned with is whether you wish to have contact with the defendant, whether you have any fear or concern for your safety, but you can make a brief statement. What would you like to tell me?
We just a Christian home. My husband's a pastor and the first they got married to. And we really deal with a lot of stuff like that. They were just busy and that's how it is. It just, they were trying to destroy a home that we got happy. Because me and Josh, my son, we had been apart from not just my family. And I've been a school board teacher, so I'm getting disability now. I did 6 jobs. I'm a hardworking mom. I'm doing construction and it's just on and on. I just been praying to God to just let everybody just be on one accord here. The devil just busy.
Well, I understand. So you don't have any concerns for your safety?
No, because my son, he's a great kid. He's an A+ student. He loves to help. He give out to the community every Wednesday. He supposed to go to the Mexican tonight. We have a 7:30. We got to be there with past that Mexican. It's at Trinity.
Okay. I understand. Now, because you are the alleged victim in this case, your son would need someone else to sign his bond to get him out. Do you know if, is there another individual?
I had went to Pastor class. The church we go to in the mornings on Wednesday, they give out free food.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that. What I'm saying is someone else will have to sign your son out. Can you give us the name of another individual who can sign for your son that's not you?
I'm a minister. I am a paralegal.
No, I'm not questioning your status. What I'm saying is you just can't do it. Is there someone else?
I don't have nobody. I don't want, me and my pastor, we prayed before I got here, man. He gave me the address how to get here. My son never been in trouble. I don't know Georgia. I use GPS to get here. I really am disturbed because I just said, I went to the pastor at the West End, Pastor Clyde. He praying for, he close to Josh. He can't believe Josh is locked up for something that the devil's busy. I had to pray for this. My
I
husband-
understand all of that.
my husband
Yes,
is not
I understand that.
father.
We're
Josh
not,
and I have conditions called menopause.
wait, no, I don't want you to start talking about that or any of that. I understand. I don't want you to say too much. And I know you spoke to the pastor. Even the pastor might be able to come and do it.
My dad had died for murder. My dad had
Okay,
died.
ma'am, you're gonna say too much that, might affect your son's case, okay? What
No,
I'm
I'm
asking
not-
you, I know you're saying you don't have anyone else, but you mentioned a husband and a pastor. Would either of those individuals be able to co-sign to get your son out of the Fulton County
My
Jail?
husband was at the downtown. He worked with Kishibana. He went to work. He on his uniform security. He's on his motorcycle. He had to go to work. That's what I was saying.
Okay, so Mr. Trejo, what I'm gonna ask, just for the sake of judicial economy, if you would give her a call perhaps, and let's hold with who the co-signer is gonna be. What
Okay.
I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give him a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He's to have no further violent contact with the alleged victim in this case, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. And he's also to take the 1-day anger awareness course. We will soon ascertain who the co-signer will be. All right?
I did.
Ma'am,
school.
his attorney is gonna give you a call, all right?
Okay.
And we're gonna figure this out. All right.
Yes, ma'am. He got a baby on the way. That's why I'm trying to get him up to his girl. She just gave us a good news. They got a baby on the way, ma'am. He got a Walmart job up there. But
I understand. I'm letting him out of jail. We just have to find someone else that's not you to sign for him, okay?
So why can I sign for him?
Because you are the alleged victim in this case.
No, I said that it was a mistake.
No, it doesn't matter what you say. Doesn't matter what you say. What I'm saying to you is we cannot allow you at this time to sign him out. Someone else will have to do it, okay?
Okay.
Those are just the rules that we're all stuck with, all right? But we are letting him out of jail.
I'm
We're
gonna
gonna
say that-
work with-
Arnie, can you give me a few minutes?
I'm trying.
Hey, all right, so look, you said 5,000,
Yes.
and what we doing about the cosigner?
Mr. Trejo is gonna call them and figure out, we're gonna give Mr. Trejo that wonderful job of sorting through this right now. And we're gonna keep going with the calendar. And he'll get the Snicker bar of the day. All right.
Really quickly, Your Honor, before we move on, and if just somebody at the jail could get mom's phone number and put it in the chat. My client wasn't able to give me her phone number. So if somebody could just send that over to us, that would be excellent.
And Your Honor, will you grant the state's stay away request or no?
I'm gonna let him go home.
Understood.
Understood, thank you.
Your Honor.
All right, but I do understand the state's position. All right, can we take another position at the jail?
Yes.
All right.
Your Honor, he wanted to tell you that he does have a co-signer.
Okay, who is the co-signer?
I was wondering if my girlfriend's mom could co-sign.
Okay, she's over 25, I'm assuming.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is her name?
You gotta know her name.
You have to know her name.
Did y'all even talk to her? Y'all can't just be putting people down without them knowing.
Okay, Mr. Howard, we're gonna.
I mean, he gonna sit. I'm just letting y'all know. So I don't want nobody emailing me with all these requests. I'm just saying.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Okay. I'm not gonna do a signature bond through the jail, so we have to figure that part out. All right. All right. Oh,
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 5, Mr. Robert Gillum.
okay. And I don't believe we're gonna have the Indonesian interpreter as the information I just received. Unfortunately, I believe that position is gonna have to be reset to tomorrow because we just did not get that request in time. That will give us time to work on it.
Okay, Judge, sorry to interrupt. They're trying to work on what position number is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I know that myself. What position was that, Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's position 7.
Oh, so there's a chance we're gonna have that, Ms. Graves?
We are trying, Judge. He would just have to
Okay,
hold to
so
the end
let's
of the
stay
calendar.
hopeful. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. I apologize.
All right, we have position, you said 5?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Robert Gillen.
Okay, Mr. Gilling, your case is 23 CR 005265Y. In this case, you are charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of August 29th. Do you understand your rights? All right.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
38 total. Last arrest was back in July. It's a CWAC charge related. You got an open trespass, simple battery, another trespass, obstruction, possession of a Schedule 2 controlled substance out of Superior Court. I got a couple of probation violations from 2018.
That's sufficient. I think I've got it. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Palan, please proceed.
Your Honor, in this matter, officers responded to a trespass call. The victim stated the defendant had barricaded himself in a room that he did not have a right to be in. My understanding is this location is either a hotel or motel. Defendant was able to gain access to the room after a guest had checked out and before cleaning staff came in. When officers arrived, the defendant was not in the room, but the defendant's belongings were in the room. Further, the victim was able to identify the defendant because the defendant has had previous incidents, particularly, Your Honor, in case 23 CR 002031G, this defendant pled guilty to a simple battery and criminal trespass at this same location. That incident date was April 3rd of this year, and the plea was entered April 18th of this year. For that reason, Your Honor, the state's concerned about risk of reoffense. We're asking for a $500 surety bond and a stay away from the incident location. I'll note that I didn't pour through the paperwork, but I would presume he has a stay away order from the previous criminal trespass this year.
What is the address again? I apologize, Mr. Palan.
Yes, Your Honor. It's 9955 Old Dogwood Road, and the business name is Studio 6.
I feel like I set this bond before. I think I've seen this event. I'm not sure, but I was wondering. All right. Mr. Trejo, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Understanding my client's history and understanding that my client has had similar trespassing charges arising out of the same address, Your Honor. Our biggest concern here is my client's indigence. My client indicated that he has been homeless in some form or fashion for a decade, and that he's working on getting work, Your Honor. He indicated that he's essentially been living out of a storage unit for about 2 months, and he's starting to work, or he has a lead on a position doing landscaping, and that but he does some tattooing to get some extra money on the side, and that was what he was doing around that time that he was on the scene. We would ask for a signature bond, Your Honor. At this point, again, understanding the issues that he's had previously, but our concern is that even a bond as low as $500 is going to strand him at the jail, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
All right, defendant's going to receive $1,000 signature bond through the jail. He is to undergo a BHET before his release, however. Additionally, he's to stay away from that location. Absolutely do not go back there, sir, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
None from defense.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. That concludes your case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 2, Mr. Camps.
Okay. Mr. Camps, your case is 23 CR 005263J. You're charged with theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass. Do you understand your rights?
Your Honor, I apologize. It's actually Mrs. Camp.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Camps. I just looked at the last name. I apologize sincerely. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hart, can I have the history, please?
10th arrest, Last was in April for trespass. 2018 failure to appear, possession of marijuana and drug-related objects, and 2016 resisting conviction. That's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Palan?
Your Honor, in this matter, officers were dispatched to a shoplifting call. The defendants alleged with stealing items totaling $219. The victim employee was able to identify the defendant from a North Carolina driver's license and from a previous encounter. Your Honor, this defendant also had a shoplifting call at this same location on July 29th of this year. And in that incident, it was alleged the defendant threatened the same employee with a razor blade and pepper spray before escaping. Your Honor, we're asking for that. I apologize. There's a $3,500 surety bond currently assigned. We're asking that you reduce that to a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, that you require the defendant to complete intake with PAD within 72 hours of release, that you order stay away from the incident location, which is 2350 Cheshire Bridge Road, Northeast. That's a CVS pharmacy. And that you add a no further contact provision with the store employee, Miss Melissa Turney.
Okay, Mr. Trejo, I'm inclined to do what I did for the last defendant. Instead of sending it through pretrial, I would require the BHET prior to the release. And I'd order the stay away. And I'm sure the state may have some objections to that, but I feel that that might be more easy to facilitate. Any objections noted by either party?
None, Your Honor.
Okay,
I should probably put some just for the record.
go ahead, Mr. Palan. Understood. Go ahead. Okay.
Just that we would object and then we'd ask Your Honor to
Okay.
recommendation. That's it, Your Honor.
Now, Your Honor, I will say we don't have any objection to my client checking in with PAD. That is something that she did indicate she is interested in. But with regard to the other conditions that Your Honor has already discussed, we have no objection.
Okay, I'm not gonna require the checking with Pat. I'm gonna do the BH instead, so that
Great.
when the social worker comes out, they might be able to assist and facilitate that. Defendant's gonna receive a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, $1,500 each count. Defendant is to undergo a BHET prior to release. Absolutely stay away from that location. Have no contact with the alleged victim and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Your Honor, I'd just like to clarify. I told you about a previous encounter, but at least my calendar just shows one count.
I have theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass. That's not correct.
All right. I would presume I'm incorrect, Your Honor.
Okay, I have
I'm
two counts.
so-
Miss Bridgewater, do you have two counts as
I
well?
have two as well.
Okay, so we'll leave it at the two. All right, best of luck to you.
That's a $3,000 signature bond, Joe, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Have a seat. Next, we're gonna go to position number 4, Mr. Anthony Fountain, position 4.
Okay, Mr. Fountain, your case is 23 CR 00526 You're charged with hit and run with the offense date of August 22nd. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard.
20 total. Last arrest was 2019 failure to appear. 2019 disorderly conduct conviction. I saw a 2012 suspended license NOLO. Everything else is old.
Okay. All right, Mr. Palan.
Your Honor, in this matter, officers responded to a hit and run call. The victim stated the defendant struck her vehicle and caused her vehicle to strike a concrete divider. The victim was able to follow the defendant until the defendant stopped his vehicle, and the victim recorded the interaction she had with the defendant, but the defendant did not provide driver information to the victim. Officers were able to identify the defendant by the victim's video, clearly showing the driver, the make and model of the car, and the license plate. Your Honor, this defendant has 68 entries on his driver's history and a 2013 conviction for suspended license, multiple FDAs on his driver's history. So we're asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no driving except for work, medical, or legal issues, and no further contact with the victim, Miss Chantrell McCree, who I would like Your Honor to sound for.
All right, is Ms. McCree present? I see a Chantriel, perhaps. Do you wish to make a statement? If you do, you'll have to turn on your camera and raise your right hand.
Okay.
All right, do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, what would you like to tell me?
I just pretty much want him to handle the deductive on my car, the $500 deductible. The car's not totaled, but it's in the shop currently.
Okay, thank you for coming to court. I appreciate you making that statement. Mr. Trejo, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, we would ask for a $3,000 signature bond on this case. My client, he's had some, as the state mentioned, Your Honor, he has had some FTAs in the past, but those are largely old in terms of being a threat to himself or to the community. Again, his driving history, he does have driving history, but most of these charges that he has are older. So we don't believe that there's a risk of him committing a felony or of intimidating other witnesses. A stay away order would not be any issue. Our concern is that my client did indicate that he does receive disability through Social Security for some chronic back issues that he has, and that he takes medication for that. So given that there is a health component to this particular client, Your Honor, we would want him to be able to be released as soon as possible. He indicated that he does some volunteer work at his church up in Roswell, and that his primary source of income is that Social Security, that he is not currently employed due to his health issues. That is our position at this time.
All right, defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond. He's not to drive unless he's going to work, legal proceedings, or medical appointments. And he must also have a valid license issued by the Georgia TDS, of course. Additionally, he's to have no contact with the alleged victim and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, sir, best of luck to you. Who do we have next?
I apologize, Your Honor. What was that bond amount again?
1,000.
SOB or?
No, surety bond.
Thank you. Next, we have position number 1, Mr. Barlow.
All right.
Good job.
All right, I'm sorry. Mr. Barlow, your case is 23 CR 005262F. In this case, you're charged with theft by shoplifting. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is his first arrest I have, so we'll go to Mr. Pallon.
SOB jail was a recommendation.
Thank you.
Your Honor, in this matter, officers responded to a shoplifting call. The victim employee stated the defendant had stolen several items, placing them in a bin, which he then stole the bin as well. The victim showed officers video of the defendant, which corroborated the victim's facts. The victim told the officers the direction in which the defendant had fled, and the officers were able to officers were able to detain the defendant nearby. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. The officer was able to return the items to the victim, and the goods totaled $52.11. We're asking for a $2,000 signature on bond through pretrial and a stay away from the incident location, which is 4465 Campbellton Road, Atlanta. And it's a Dollar General, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Trejo?
Yes, Your Honor. We have no objection to a signature bond. We have no objection to a stay away order in this case as well. We would ask for his release to be through the jail rather than through pretrial, just because he indicated that he does have some mobility concerns. So I would be a little bit concerned with his ability to be able to get to meetings with pretrial. But other than that, Your Honor, we have no objection to the other conditions.
All right, defendant will receive a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. He's to stay away from that Dollar General store, and he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Not from defense.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Honor, what we have left, there are 2
position 2, you can cross out that.
No, we have Sims and Reese. These are 2 breakouts. We have Mr. Johnson, who Ms. Fox wants to hear at the end of the calendar. We also have the interpreter, which we're still waiting for. And we also have Mr. Denson, I believe is probably going to be an add-on. So I don't know.
Denson is ready to go. We have a case.
Okay.
If Your Honor would
There's
give
an
the,
additional add-on.
that is the add-on, Your Honor.
Oh, that is the add-on.
Mhm.
Okay, we can do that one and then go into the breakouts. All right, Mr. Denson, Ms. Falk, will you put his case number onto the record for me and the
Yes,
chart?
Your Honor. This is 23 CR 005272, State of Georgia versus Andrew Denson. Mr. Denson is charged with 1 count of family violence battery, first offense, 1 count of giving false date of birth to law enforcement officers.
All right, sir, do you understand your rights today?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, do you have the history?
Yes, I'm just writing down what he charged with. Hold on. Giving false name and battery DV.
Yes.
Yeah, he got 11 total. Last was 2016 probation. He got 2014 ag assault on robbery that was dismissed. 2012 parole violation. 2007 ag assault robbery, obstruction, first offense. That's it.
All right, Mr. Palan, please proceed.
Your Honor, this case involves 2 dates. The first date is August 7th, 2023. On that date, officers responded to a domestic disturbance and met with Miss Janice Denson, who stated she was assaulted by the defendant, who is her son. Miss Denson stated that she was that her son was making odd statements before she began striking her on her face, and officers were able to observe swelling to the right side of her face. The second incident date is August 29th. That's when officers encountered the defendant at a location. When they inquired for the defendant's date of birth, he gave the incorrect date of birth, which is May 23rd, 1989. Defendant's real date of birth is May 25th, 1989. Once officers were able to get the correct information, they noted that he had an outstanding warrant for family violence battery against his mother. Your Honor, given some of the criminal history read by pretrial, we're asking for a $3,500 surety bond. That'd be $3,000 on the family violence battery and $500 on the giving false date of birth. Stay away from the first incident address, which is 189 Rhodesia Avenue Southeast in Atlanta, and no further violent contact with Miss Janice Denson, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Okay, is it Miss Denson on the line by any chance? All right, I don't see her or hear her. Ms. McLeod, please proceed.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good
My
afternoon.
client is 34 years old. He actually lives with his mother at the address stated and has done so for some time. I was not able to speak with Mom, Your Honor. I noticed that the prosecution is asking for no further violent contact, but has also said that he should not go back there. If my client is not allowed to go back there, he'll essentially be homeless because that is where he lives. He does have some issues, Your Honor, which I believe are stated in the warrant itself. And Mom essentially sort of takes care of him. That's my understanding. Although he can work and does work from time to time, he has jobs in landscaping and so on. He is in no position to pay the bond that the state is asking. I understand that he does have some history and the court is probably disinclined to give him a signature bond. But if the court will not give him a signature bond, I would ask for a good bond of no more than, say, $1,000, Your Honor, because he's not in a position to pay for bond at this time. And that any bond that you give him be conditional no further violent contact with Mom and not a stay away. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond broken down 1,500, count 1, 500, count 2. He's to have no further violent contact with his mother. I won't order the stay away at this time. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Your Honor, we would The state would object to the lack of stay away just because we haven't heard from the victim.
Understood.
Well, Your Honor, he has been living there since this incident allegedly happened on the 7th of August.
All right. I agreed with you, Ms. McLeod. All right. All right. Is there anything additional?
No, Your
No,
Honor.
Your Honor. And that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Take care, Ms. McLeod.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Finish.
All right. That concludes Mr. Denson's case.
Can you get up? There you go. Good job. All right, now, take your time. Your Honor, I know this is very unusual for me, but can we go back to Mr. Copeland? He said he does have another co-signer. Come on,
Is he sure?
are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Okay, now.
And so the problem is if you haven't had any prior contact with this co-signer, then that person has to know that they're going to be the person to come and get you or else you'll be sitting. Mr. Trejo, have you spoken to your client?
Not since before his position was last called, Your Honor.
Can Mr. Trejo speak to him instead to make sure that this is valid? Can we have Mr. Trejo, will you call the jail?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
And also, Your Honor, okay, go ahead, sir.
Can you call extension 22392? 22392.
Yes, sir. I'll do that right now.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Also, Your Honor, going back to position number 2, according to Ms. Fox, there's only one charge. The theft by shoplifting, nothing with that criminal trespass, and you issued a $1,500 SOB through the jail for each of them. So I'm deleting the criminal trespass. So do you want me to keep it at 1,500 SOB through the jail on the shoplifting?
I'm sorry, this is position 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Camps, Your Honor.
Okay, so there was only one charge. There's no theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass. It's only one?
Right. When Mr. Pilon alerted me to it, I went back and looked at the jail system and looked at attorney manager. It's only theft by shoplifting. I can't find another warrant for criminal trespass anywhere.
Okay. All right, so we'll make it a 3,000 SOB for that one charge.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. All right. Can we go ahead and do the breakouts? Who requested the breakouts? I'm sorry. There were lots requested at the beginning.
Your Honor, they're both my cases. It's
Okay.
yeah, for position 10 Sims and also for Reese. Not sure.
Okay. Okay. So if we can do those now, and I'll be placing the breakout with Ms. Falk, Ms. Nemini. Mr. Palan, do you need to come and join us as well?
I'd like to go.
Come on in. And I believe Mr. Trejo will likely need to come as well, but he's otherwise engaged. But can we still drop him in there, please, Ms. Grace?
Okay. Once he's done speaking with his client.
Yes.
Okay.
Or you can move him now. I'm sure, I don't know, they're gonna make a difference.
Okay, no problem.
All right, if we could do Mr. Reese, please.
Reese, come on up.
All right, we're not gonna go back through the facts. I think we've spoken about what happened. If the state would just put their recommendation onto the record after I ask him if he understands his rights. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Reese.
Good afternoon.
All right, let me I lost the calendar just that quick. Give me 1 second. All right, Mr. Reese, your case number is, let's see, I'm sorry. 23 CR 005269J. You're charged with criminal trespass. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, will you put the history onto the record?
Who we on?
Number 9, Reese.
31 total. Last arrest was in June, probation. Appears to have open possession of marijuana case, 2022 failure to appear, trespass DB, 2016 failure to appear, probation, 2016 battery, 2015 possession of cocaine with intent conviction, and FTAs from 2013 and 15.
All right,
Listen.
thank you. All right, Ms. Nimini, if you put your recommendation onto the record.
Yes, Your Honor. The current bond is 1,000 shorty. The state is asking to keep it, stay away from MARTA, and a permanent ban for MARTA, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and an MMHC evaluation.
All right, Ms. Abden.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Reese is 38 years old. He's lived in Georgia his whole life. He has a high school diploma. His indigency is a concern. He is homeless at this time, but he is working. I do believe that PAD will be able to provide him with civility like we've discussed. So I would ask that he be allowed to meet with them. He does have a 17-year-old child. He works part-time. At a temp agency as a general labor construction worker. He's been working there for the past 4 months. I spoke with him. He does agree with the stay away. And it sounds like this was a misunderstanding according to him. He would not be able to pay the bond set. And I would ask for a signature bond and to allow him time to meet with PAD.
All right, defendant will receive a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. He's to meet with the social worker prior to his release. Additionally, he's to comply with all MARTA suspensions or bans, and he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, best of luck to you. Now, can we do Mr. Sims? All right, Mr. Sims, your case is 23 CR 005271H. You're charged with loitering and prowling and giving false information. Do you understand your rights?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have that history too?
40 total. Last arrest was in June. Trespass, vandalism to a place of worship out of Clayton County. He's on probation for trespass. 2018 probation, 2017 entering auto, 2014 burglary, couple of trespass arrests, 2009 burglary, ag assault, criminal damage to property conviction.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Nimini?
Yes, Your Honor. The bond is currently set at 5,000. The state is asking to reduce it for count 1 to 3,000, for count 2 to 1,000. Stay away from 1770 Richmond Circle Southeast. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further contact with Miss Margaret Baker.
Is Ms. Baker on the line? Okay, Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 55 years old. He's lived in Georgia for most of his life. I would ask for a signature bond. This is a nonviolent offense. I understand that he has a criminal history of similar offenses. However, he does understand that he will not be returning there. He does not. He agrees to a stay away and no contact. And if the court is not inclined to give him a signature bond, his indigency is also a concern. And so I would request that the bond amount that was reduced from the set amount still be reduced as he would not be able to afford it.
All right, defendant's gonna receive $1,000 surety bond, 500 each count. He is to stay away from that location and have no contact with the alleged victim, last name Baker. Additionally, he's to undergo a BHET and he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, what position was this?
10, Mr. Sims.
Gotcha. Okay, so I thought, okay.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Sims. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Your Honor, are we gonna have an interpreter today?
Any news on that, Miss Grace?
Not as of yet, Judge, so we're probably gonna have to reset.
All right. Unfortunately, I believe position 7 will have to be reset to tomorrow. We've not made any headway, so we are gonna reset the case of Benny Cristiano until tomorrow. All right, can we clear the courtroom so that we can do the last position?
Okay, can we actually try Mr. Copeland? Your Honor?
We didn't do.
He spoke to Trejo.
I spoke to Mr. Copeland, Your Honor. He indicated that his stepfather is able to come and sign for him on that signature bond, if that's
Okay.
if that's
And
acceptable.
what's his stepfather's name?
What's your stepfather's name, Joshua?
Arthur Jennings.
Say that
Arthur
again.
Jennings. Arthur Jennings.
Okay, you understand that though, if Mr. Jennings is the only person who can come and pick you up, nobody else is gonna be able to do that. You understand that?
Yes,
If
Your
that's the name we give. Okay. Mr. Howard, you have that name?
Yeah, you waving?
I guess so. Yes, you can send me that.
Trejo, let the dad know he needs to bring a valid ID when he
Okay.
comes. I'll put the address in the chat for you.
Great, thank you.
And that's still a $3,000 signature bond pre-trial, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so let me clear the courtroom, so we go to Mr. Johnson. Mr. Cristiano saying that he can speak English now. I don't know, what do you want to do, Your Honor?
What?
Yeah.
You learned it faster than me, Your Honor.
Lord have mercy.
What?
So I would be happy
Yeah,
to.
his attorney. I mean,
Miss Abden, would you try and talk to him?
I would be happy to speak with him.
this
if
is
he-
this is interesting.
I
Okay.
apologize, Your Honor.
Very interesting. But we're gonna clear the courtroom. We'll get to Mr.
Okay.
Christie a little later. Come on, everyone.
I guess he heard that reset to tomorrow and decided to do the best he could. All right. The devil continues. All right. If we could please take up Miss, is this your case, Miss Abden? The one, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
You can't even go talk to him now. Okay.
No,
Okay.
I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. That's okay. I just was hoping. When you tried to speak to him earlier, you try it all, Miss Abden? Or
So I did not. I was told that he needed an Indonesian interpreter to speak with me.
Close the door.
What?
Okay.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's okay.
I apologize.
So you were told that he couldn't speak it at all, but now he's indicating something else. Okay.
It appears.
All right. Can we turn off the live stream, please, so that we can do Mr. Johnson's position? And the live too, please.
And Your Honor, this